Many Americans are suffering in the homeowner crisis. Many Americans are losing their homes. Some people wondering how to keep their homes. Here in New York City, the numbers continue to rise in the area of foreclosures as well as people in trouble with home ownership. But we're proud to introduce you to one organization that is trying to make a difference, a not-for-profit organization that has been around since 1982, helping people out, and it is called Neighborhood Housing Services. Our guest in studio, Oscar Morillo, who is the executive director of Neighborhood Housing Services, and he's here with us in studio, going to give us some helpful advice if you're a homeowner or if you want to buy a home, and whether or not you believe it or not, now is a good time to still own a home. So, Oscar, thank you and welcome to Perspectives. As we talk about home ownership, we know the problem with the economy here in America. I guess for many people, the question is now a good time to buy?
Well, at this time, I think it's probably better than ever because whoever is trying to buy a house can buy a house at a cheaper price now. Many people are losing their home and they have to sell because they can't continue to pay for that mortgage. So that's a way that you can get a better price. But also, many people in our neighborhoods, they are trying to become homeowners, but we need to look at the finances. We need to look at the credit report. We need to look at their income and advise them what kind of housing they can afford, which is one of the reasons why many people have had so many problems. People have been trying to buy houses that they cannot afford. As a result, they are in default today. They are in foreclosure. So when people come to us, we provide them with education, which is basic, is crucial for a first-time home buyer to know what they are doing before they go out and buy a house. Mm-hmm. When a first-time home buyer comes to NHS, Neighborhood Housing Services, so we check their credit score, the credit report. We advise them on the credit report. If they have any problem in there, we help them to fix those problems. We involve them in a 5-week class. It's one day, one evening per night, and we go through all the steps one by one, all what they need to know before they go out to buy for a house or to look for a house.
And now let me ask you this. In this time, we're seeing more and more people losing their homes. Are more and more people actually progressing out and trying to get homes?
Last month, we have a seminar for first-time home buyers, and we had 107 people who attended the seminar. So this is a good time to buy a house. It's cheaper than the last 2 or 3 years.
All right. We're talking about Neighborhood Housing Services, and they're located across New York City, right here in the borough of the Bronx. You'll be able to find out more information about exactly where they are in a little while, but we're going to talk a little bit about some of the services they provide. We heard about home ownership. Let's talk about that. So a person walks in. They have the opportunity now to find out more about owning a home. You guys put them through a class so that way they kind of get the basics.
Right. So they participate in the class. While they are in this 5-week class, we help them to get a pre-qualification from a bank. So we basically bring 3 banks, and they analyze the financial situation of the client and each bank provides a pre-qualification. A pre-qualification is that the bank will tell you how much they can lend you according to your income and expenses. So when they finish the class, that they know all the steps they need to know to buy the house, they already have a letter from a bank, a pre-qualification, let's say for $200,000. So if one of the banks, the 3 banks, pre-qualify the clients for $200,000, they know that they cannot go out and buy a $500,000 house because they don't have the money.
Right.
So with this $200,000, at this point, like in the Bronx, what a household can buy is probably a condo or a co-op, because most of the houses, like one to 4 family house, cost $300,000-$500,000. So part of the education is to let them know how much housing each family can afford according to their income.
And a lot of people would do a lot better if they had that going in, because much of America's problem this time is as we said at the top of the show, people are buying houses or bought homes that they can't afford. Now the economic downturn hits, and now they're not able to maintain this. So it's one positive aspect, I guess, for some people to be able to know this is the financial range in which we can keep people in.
Right.
The question, I guess, is it sounds so simple now. Why wasn't it done before?
No, we have been here for 26 years.
You've been here for 26 years, but I guess the question is, when you look on a national level,
True.
a lot of these people losing their homes, and if they only knew.
Let me tell you, some of the practices that were taking place over the past 2, 3, 4 years is that people were able, the banks allowed first-time home buyers to buy homes that they could not afford. How could they do that? They didn't have to prove the amount of income that the family had. So by not showing the income, a first-time home buyer probably may say, okay, I make $10,000 a month. And the bank say, okay, you make $10,000 a month. Then you can afford a $500,000 house. And probably they were making $3,000 or $4,000. So one aspect that it was highlighted by the bank was, let's say that a family buy a 2-family house, meaning 2 apartments. So the family lives in 1 apartment and they rent a 2nd apartment. And by doing that, they could prove that their income was higher. But what happens when a tenant stops paying the mortgage? Immediately, the landlord, the homeowner cannot pay for the mortgage, and the default is there, and foreclosure comes in that way also.
Let's talk about foreclosure. You brought up the F word, a very rough word these days. We're hearing more and more people in foreclosure, but Neighborhood Housing Services works to do something called foreclosure prevention.
Right. NHS has created a foreclosure counseling center, foreclosure prevention counseling center in the Bronx. We have a center in the North Bronx, 1451 East Gang Hill Road, and we have another smaller center by 161st Street in Grand Concourse. That's the NHS of the South Bronx. So what we do, when clients come to us with a problem, we ask them to provide us with a series of documents that they need to bring, which are the documents that the banks, the lender, is asking for to see if they qualify for some kind of agreement. It may be a modification of the loan, a repayment plan, a forbearance agreement, different kind of agreement that the servicers at this point or the lenders at this point can do for the homeowners. Let's say a year ago it was really difficult to get modification. Today it's a little easier to get a loan modified because there are more lenders participating and willing to negotiate those loans. They lose less money. The banks lose less money by renegotiating those loans than by foreclosing the property. Because the banks, they don't want the property. They want to continue to receive that mortgage payment every month.
All right, let's talk a little about loans and mortgages when we come back. Taking a quick break as we're talking with Oscar Morillo, the Executive Director of Neighborhood Housing Services. We'll find out more about what you can do if you want to get into a home or to help you to keep your home right here on Perspective.